Hey everyone, I'm Mind, and this is set number 71489, Cooper's gaming jet from the LEGO Dreamzzz theme. This set contains 266 pieces, 1 minifigure, and retails for $19.99 in the US. This set was gifted to me for review by the LEGO Group through the LEGO Ambassador Network, but all opinions expressed in this video are entirely my own. Now, of course, this set is a LEGO Dreamzzz set, and just like pretty much all LEGO Dreamzzz sets, this set does have an alternate build. I will be covering both builds in this video, so if you want to see them both, make sure to watch it all the way through. And I'm also doing a bunch of other LEGO 2025 reviews right now. I've already covered a few of the other Dream sets, but I've also done Ninjago, Sonic, and a lot more. So if you're interested in seeing any of that, you can go check it out after this video. I'll have a full playlist linked in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you're enjoying this kind of content and you want to see more, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Liking and subscribing does a ton to help support me in the channel and also helps YouTube to show you my videos more often. Also, let me know in the comments which 2025 LEGO Dream set you want to see me do a review of next. But now, with all of that being said, let's get into this review. Here's Cooper's gaming controller jet, and I think this is a fairly good size for the retail price. As of like the last few years, $20 sets can vary a lot with how small or how big they are, but this feels right to me. Like, this is the kind of thing I like to see. The biggest part of this jet is, of course, at the back right here, we have a giant video game controller. I think this integrates into the rest of the jet alright. It doesn't look perfect in my opinion, but it looks good enough, and it definitely looks a lot better in hand than it does in the box art. And I mean, that is a pretty bold concept in the first place, having a gaming controller that's also a jet. So given the fairly wacky idea, I think they did a fairly good job with it. There are some stickers on the actual controller. We have these start and select buttons right here, a D-pad right here, and then just some round buttons on this side. There's a button with a game controller on it, a button with like the LEGO Dreamzzz Hourglass logo on it, and then like a little play button right here. Not sure what kind of controller would have those buttons, but sure. I actually kind of like the size of it because it's almost the size of an actual game controller. It's maybe a little bit small, but also it's a kid's set, so that would make sense. But yeah, you could actually hold the entire vehicle like it is a video game controller and move it around like that. That's kind of fun to do. There's even like trigger buttons on the top too, and your fingers can like rest really naturally there. There's like these new energy blast pieces for the exhaust of the jet. This is an all new part for this wave, and it comes in lots of the LEGO Dream sets in different colors. And of course, in the case of this set, it's transparent blue. It's a very interesting part. I like it. It feels very stylized. And it's got bar connections on each end, so you have two different ways you can display it. You can have like the puff of smoke at the base or the puff of smoke at the end. And of course, you can rotate it to slightly change how it's displayed. There is stickers on each side of the gaming controller. You can see there's like this blue and coral design, and that's pretty much the same on both sides. The underside of the gaming controller has the exact same stickers as the top, so it's cool to see that consistency. I like that one side doesn't look better than the other, even if that doesn't make as much sense from a practical perspective. Coming to the front cockpit area of the jet, this is where the neon yellow comes in. Now, neon yellow is just one of the main colors of this wave. Basically, every single set this wave uses this in one way or another. And it's definitely LEGO's loudest color. It's a color that a lot of people I know are very divided on. And I think this vehicle uses it alright. It's not like too heavy here. It uses it somewhat tastefully. Something interesting is we have like the Ninjago Master of the Mountain armor piece right here in neon yellow, which is a very interesting color for that part. That's not a part I ever expected to get in that color. So just from like a collecting standpoint, I kind of really love getting that. But from a building standpoint, probably not the most useful part in the world. There's also these long slope pieces in that color, and they have stickers on them, and I think the stickers definitely help to offset like the brightness of that color. And honestly, the red and blue look nice on top of it. It does feel like very video gamey. The underside of the jet uses the Ninjago Prime Empire like giant blade pieces, but this is an all new color for this wave. It's sparkly, transparent blue. It's cool to see that part still around, and yeah, that color definitely looks good on it. Unfortunately, it looks like mine came a little bit warped. You can see it bends upward like the slightest bit. If you really wanted to, you could try to bend it the other way, and that would probably fix it. But yeah, unfortunately, it seems like there was either an issue in production or packaging. The sides of the jet right here, we have stud shooters, which you can push down on, and the stud will shoot out. Unsurprisingly, transparent blue stud in this set. And there's also clips back here, which I assumed were to hold on to minifigure accessories while they're in the jet, but this is like Cooper's accessory in this set, and it straight up does not fit. The base of the hourglass hilt piece is too wide, and it fights with this turret section. And yeah, I can't do it like that. Maybe something like this? I mean, okay, yeah, there's a way to attach it, I guess. That doesn't feel like the best, though, so I'm happy they tried to include something, and I guess that does work, but it does not feel nearly as intuitive as the clips on some other sets. Finally, the cockpit has a trans black windshield, and that opens up. Inside, there's a stickered console piece and a nice tan seat for Cooper to sit. I can place him down in there, lean him back, and then close it up around him. And there's how Cooper looks actually flying the jet. And I think that's basically everything I have to show you for this version of Cooper's gaming controller jet. So now let's take a look at the side build in this set, and then I'll rebuild this into the alternate build. So the side build in this set is one of these buildable enemies, these cyber brain spiders. They come in pretty much every single set this wave that is video game themed, and these guys are awesome. These might be some of my favorite buildable villains in like any LEGO theme ever. They just feel feel like the kind of things I played with when I was a kid from LEGO, they feel like they could have fit in like LEGO Agents. And in every single set, the build of these guys is slightly different. I will say this is one of the weaker ones, but that doesn't make it bad, it just means the others are better, because this version of the Cyber Brain Spider only has 4 legs instead of 6. The way the legs connect though is exactly the same as the others, and I continue to be very impressed by this. You can see they use these rounded pieces with the bar sticking out the end, and this allows you to actually rotate the legs like on the stud, and that gives you an additional point of articulation that most builds like this don't have. Then this white piece that connects to the bar can also rotate a full 360 degrees, and then the black part that clips on the end of course serves as like a knee, and if you really want to, you can also rotate this tooth piece that's meant to be like a claw. With all that combined, you can pose this build in very fun and animated ways, like I love these guys so much. And then on top of all that, they have this very interesting new part, the Cyber Brain. This is a giant dual molded piece in trans pink and white, and yeah, I mean, it looks fantastic. There's 2 studs on the side, a stud on the top, and then 4 anti-studs on the bottom, and you can see right now the stud on the top has a clip attached with this printed tile on it, and I assume this ties in with the villains because it's got this very like cyber robotic design with these little like angry eyes on it. And then finally with this build, there's also these long tentacle arms. These are also a brand new part for this wave, and they're a ton of fun just to like move around. They connect on these clips that also have a good bit of articulation. You can move them up and down like this and also move them out. And this one has a trans pink cone piece in the end, and the idea is they use that to like capture enemies. So if you want Cooper to get captured, for example, you can take his hairpiece off, attach him right there, and now the Cyber Brain Spider like has a hold of him. Unfortunately, Cooper is the only minifigure in this set that you can do that with. There's no, like, people to save or anything, but I'll talk about that more when we get to the minifigures in this video. As just a standalone build, though, I love the Cyber Brain Spider. Again, there are better versions in other sets, but I like that they are so different, and if you get all the sets from this wave, you could build, like, a Cyber Brain Spider army. Oh, actually, there's one more thing with the jet. The little stud shooter turrets on the side that I mentioned, they're actually, like, the modular part of this set. They can be removed very easily, they connect the clips onto bars. There's a look at that whole connection system. And if you have any of these sets or you've seen my other reviews for this wave, you may notice that looks suspiciously similar to something else, because that same connection system does exist in other sets from this wave. For example, this one right here. So if I go up to like the z-blob turret at the top right here, I can remove the sides of that if I wanted to, and swap them out with the ones from Cooper's gaming controller jet because they connect in the exact same way. There's how that looks. Then you can also reattach these to the gaming controller jet, and that gives you a very different look for this vehicle too. I believe that is the only point of modularity in this set, but hey, it's cool that it's still there, and it's really up to you like how big and different you want to go with that, because all of like the video game themed sets this wave do have modularity to some extent. The car and the mech have the most, like this one only has a little bit. But yeah, if you have multiple sets, I recommend like trying out swapping more parts around. I'm not going to show you every combination because there's a lot, but this is just like one example of what you can do. But now let's take a quick look at the instructions for this set. So just like all the LEGO Dreamzzz instructions, there's a full illustration on the front, which I think looks amazing. Really cool to see these two fight, and you can see the Cyber Brain Spider has like this glitch effect on it. But the way the alternate build works is the first part of the build stays exactly the same. This is bag 1 in this set, and it's like the whole gaming controller build. But then when it comes time for bag 2, you have a choice. You can either build the jet, which we just looked at, or the helicopter, which we're about to look at. Here's the full illustration for the jet, which is the same as the front of the instructions, and here's the full illustration for the helicopter, which I'm going to rebuild into now. Here's the alternate build I'll put together, Cooper's Gaming Jet Helicopter, and I think of the two I slightly prefer this one. The helicopter just feels like a more unique build, right? The jet's the kind of thing we get all the time in LEGO, and we had jets in the Prime Empire wave, for example, which used these same exact blade pieces in different colors. Helicopters, though, are a lot less common, and the idea of, like, video game-themed helicopter does feel new for LEGO. In terms of the way the controller integrates, I don't know, it's definitely very interesting. It doesn't make the entire vehicle, like, very helicopter-shaped, but again, the point is, it's not really entirely supposed to. It is meant to look like a video game controller is here, it's just a part of a helicopter, and I think it does an alright job at that. I will say the helicopter itself does feel very thin, some extra bulk might have helped it a little bit, but it's not the end of the world. And the way the windshield attaches now is quite interesting. I like the shape it creates with the front of the video game controller, but it also leaves this giant gap right here, which I know some people, like, really hate when there's gaps in the windshield. So I think it's really going to come down to personal preference, like if you like this or if you don't. The stud shooters are still here and they're still modular, so you can remove these sections and swap them with the other builds if you want to, but they're a slightly different build now. They have those power blast pieces coming out the back, and those have actually been reversed this time around, so the big explosion part's at the back rather than at the front. The neon yellow stickered parts are doubled up here too. Having those right next to each other, I don't know how I feel about, because of course they're exactly the same, so some variation would have been nice, but of course this is an alternate build. I get why they are exactly the same. But honestly, I like how all the neon yellow is in the back here, right? It sort of cuts off at the front. I think it makes the color feel very tasteful, and again, that Master of the Mountain armor piece fits in well. Very, very interesting color for that part. And then the blades of the helicopter are, of course, those Prime Empire blade pieces, and those could very easily spin around to make the helicopter actually fly through the air. I will say the clutch power in this section isn't amazing. If you're spinning the blades or you're moving the windshield up, sometimes you can accidentally pop that entire section off, just because the windshield's so big and these blades are so big and it only connects on 4 studs. So if you're playing with this build, that's something to be aware of, but it's not the end of the world because the clutch power is fine. And here's how it looks to actually have Cooper in the helicopter. The clips to hold on to accessories no longer exist in this version of the build, instead they hold on to the windshield at the front. However, if you really wanted to store his weapon while he's in the vehicle, there is holes right here that you can connect it to, and honestly that fits in pretty well. I don't mind how that looks at all. So yeah, this build's not perfect, but for an alternate build I really like it, and I think of the two I actually prefer this version. Oh, and the symmetry of the video game controller is really nice for the purposes of the alternate build, because then both sides of the helicopter actually look really nice. But anyway, I'll talk about all of this a little bit more at the end of the video. For now, let's take a look at the minifigure that comes in the set, and then I'll give you my overall thoughts on everything at the end. Here's the one and only minifigure in the set, the new LEGO Dreamzzz Season 3 version of Cooper, and I think this is easily the best Cooper has ever looked. He's not really doing the whole race car driver aesthetic anymore that he's had in the past, which was fine. It wasn't really my thing, but I guess some people probably like it. This is just more casual clothes, and I think it looks fantastic. You can see the back of his torso, it just says the word built, which is very funny because it looks quite cool and fashionable, but it's also like very self-referential to LEGO. And that word built is also on the side of his torso too. Legs are incredibly detailed. He's got like this metallic silver armor, which is interesting to see, but it fits the LEGO Dreamzzz world, right? Like, they are battling, they are fighting. And I don't know exactly what's going on in his undershirt, but he has like a little bit of metallic silver there, which looks nice. But yeah, in general, red and white is just one of the best color combinations. It might be an odd thing to reference here, but I think of like Premier Balls from Pokemon, like those look amazing, and this is the exact same color scheme. So I really like seeing it on Cooper here. I think it looks great. His accessory is like this chainsaw that uses the hourglass hilt piece that was introduced in the summer 2024 LEGO Dreamzzz wave. Cool to see that's more accessible and it comes in more sets, because if I remember correctly, it didn't come in a ton of sets that wave, but it's an amazing part. It allows them to keep like the hourglass LEGO Dreamzzz theming while also giving the characters proper weapons. And this is a very accessible set to get that part in. And then his hair hat combo piece is also the one from the summer 2024 wave. It's the one that was originally introduced in the LEGO Jaws set, but of course it's red and blonde here. Very, very good looking piece. And he does have an all new double-sided face for this wave. On the one side, he's very angry. It kind of reminds me of the expressions we get in Monkey Kid. Like, this looks like it could be a Monkey Kid face. But then the alternate face, he has like these VR goggles on, because of course this is the video game season. And there's how that looks with the hairpiece too. So I think Cooper's a really good minifigure. The only thing is, he's the only minifigure in this set. And I think that's a little unfortunate. Now, there are some things to keep in mind here with that. Number one, the price of this set. As I said, this set does feel quite big for $20. Like, I feel like you get a lot here. And of course, when you get a really big build, some sacrifices have to be made in other places, so maybe that's why they can only fit one minifigure in this set. Additionally, I think that technically the Cyber Brain Spider is considered a part of the minifigure lineup, because that is a brick-built enemy, and that does use an all-new part. So you do still have an enemy in this set, it's just not a minifigure enemy, it's a brick-built enemy. But even with all that considered, I would have liked maybe one more minifigure here. It doesn't have to be a full villain minifigure, but maybe just like some sort of civilian for you to rescue. That could be one of the generic Dreamer minifigures like we see in the big set of this wave, or one of the little Dreamlings, like one of the little mushroom guys. Just something for you to rescue, because I feel like it feels a little bit odd that we don't have that here. That's not the end of the world though, because as I said, the value is already pretty good on this set. And so, overall, what are my thoughts on this set? Do I recommend it? I mean, I think this set is very good at what it's trying to do. It ties to the video game theme, it makes for a fun vehicle that's fun to like hold and swoosh around. You get a really good minifigure, you get an amazing villain, which is easily the best part of this set. And value-wise, yeah, as I said, $20 is fantastic for this. When I first saw it, I assumed it was going to be $25 or $30, and at that price, I wasn't that interested in it. But $20, no, $20 feels good for this. The alternate build is also incredibly solid. In fact, I like it more than the original. And the two different builds do feel very different from each other, which is great to see, because it gives you more play value. Sometimes the alternate builds are very similar to each other. This time around though, no, they serve distinctly different purposes. And then yeah, as I mentioned, minifigure selection's probably the weakest part, but that's made up for in the build. So I would not call this a must-have set by any means. Like, this absolutely has to be the kind of thing you're interested in the first place. But if you were curious about this set, yeah, I recommend you pick it up. I think it's a fairly good entry point into this wave of LEGO Dreamzzz, even if the minifigure selection leaves a little bit to be desired. But of course, those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think of this set in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like on it and subscribe to my channel if you're new. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, let me know in the comments which 2025 LEGO Dreamzzz set you want to see a review of next. But as for this video, I think that's about all I have to say, so thanks for watching everybody, I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!